All right, let's pick up on one of our top stories. Reports from Durban that one of the 14 COVID-19 positive crew on the quarantined vessel that sailed from India has been rushed to hospital with breathing difficulties. There is, of course, much concern about the damage that a local outbreak of the variant dominant in India might do. Let's discuss this now with Professor Mosa Moshabela, Acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Research and Innovation at the University of Kwazulu-Natal. Prof, thank you so much for joining us. So this ship in Durban, it's not confirmed if the 14 crew are actually ill with the variant dominant from India, but there is an enormous amount of anxiety in South Africa. How concerned should we be here in South Africa if indeed it is that variant and, let's say, it spreads through our communities?
Yeah, thanks. Greetings, Sally, and to your viewers. I think that from a disease monitoring perspective, we should be concerned, and this is in terms of surveillance of diseases that or variants that might cross borders, either through ship or plane or car. We have to be concerned, and in fact, I want to probably take a chance that it's possible that the variant that we are concerned about is probably in the country already. It's just that I think we happen to have picked up the cases that have been picked up. It's possible that there are others that have not been picked up through the borders. But for me, I think that it's something that we have to do anyway, to continue to monitor anyone who comes through the borders in terms of, from a disease surveillance point of view, and make sure that we pick up any new variants. It's part of the process.
So Prof. Tulio de Oliveira from CRISP says that actually the variant here, the 501YV2, that pushed our second wave so high, is actually more mutated than the one that they're experiencing in India, and that if you've had one, you're likely to be immune from having the other. First of all, would you agree with that assessment? And then I want to just try and compare the two variants.
Okay, so basically the variant that we had here that drove the second wave had 3 points of mutations that we were worried about. The one that is in India has got 2 mutations that we are worried about. And one of those mutations, 484, they are similar in the variant that we had here and the one that is in India. It's only one that is not the same. The one in India is similar to a mutation that was found in California in the US. So in a way, I think that it is acceptable to say that the variant that we had here, which was highly transmissible, it's just as concerning as the one that is in India. It's just as concerning as the one that is in Brazil, and also just as concerning as the one that circulated in the UK. So it's fair enough to say that we have a dominant here, a variant that is just as aggressive.
All right, so they're probably then equally transmissible, is that correct?
Well, the argument that is being put in the literature at the moment is that the one in India might be a little bit more, about 20% more transmissible, but it's not significant for us to be excessively concerned per se. I think that in my view, and I'd like to agree with Tulio, that the measures that we have used to control the dominant variant here that was transmissible is the same thing that we're going to need to control the one that may come through from India.
If you've had the variant here and then you're exposed to the variant that's dominant in India, would you get sick again? So
people who probably got infected with the 501V2 are likely to have cross immunity. That the immunity they generated from that one that was here during the second wave can protect them partially from the one that was found in India. It's very likely that that will be the case. But the issue here, I think, Sally, is that the kind of immunity that people would have generated either from an infection in December or January, we cannot guarantee that it would continue to protect them beyond May and June, because then we estimate that it will last between 4 and 6 months. So I wouldn't want anyone to take it for granted that because they survived, the 501V2, then they are protected from this B1617.
That's such an important point. One of the reports from India, we're hearing that more children are getting quite sick with the variant that's dominant there. Do you have any understanding of why that might be so?
Well, I think that is similar to what happened here, whereby the sheer number of the population that is getting infected increases the proportion of children that would be affected by the variant as well. Because we had a similar problem with the second wave, where we started to see more younger people getting infected with that variant compared to the first wave. And the dominant explanation for that was not that it was affecting children more, it's just that in terms of the population size, the proportion was just much larger because more people were getting infected. That's how I would look at it. And if you think about it, India does not yet have the kind of restrictions that we often put in place here in South Africa. So you can imagine that with the population size and the density that they have, the spread will be much faster if they don't have the restrictions.
So, Prof, having listened to everything you said, I just want to get an assessment from you. There are a lot of calls this evening that we should ban any direct flights from India or via India, that travellers from India should be banned. I don't know what that means for our cricket team returning home from the IPL. Do you think those calls are a complete overreaction or perhaps a wise precautionary suggestion?
In my own opinion, and this is based on just my own assessment, I think that it's a little bit of an overreaction. I think that, I have come to a point where, Sally, I'm accepting that, yes, we want to control the disease and the spread of the infections, but at the same time, there is genuinely real concerns about ensuring that we are protecting the economy. So if we were to say that right now we are seeing an increased spike of infections, I would say, yes, let's shut down the borders, in as much as we might ask that we escalate the alert level from 1 to 3 the same way. But for as long as we are still comfortable at alert level 1, what would be important in my view is that we follow all the precautions that have been put in place for alert level 1. I think if people are not wearing masks and people are engaging in large events and gatherings, yes, perhaps then we need to think about closing borders. But if people are cooperating with the regulations at alert level 1, I don't necessarily think that we should panic excessively. I think that we just continue to monitor our infections in the country until we see what happens with the third wave.
Well, thank you so much for chatting to us this evening, Professor Mosa Moshabela, Acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Research and Innovation at the University of Kwazulu-Natal. We've got